So, once upon a time, these group of three aliens, as three aliens are wont to do, decided to go on a little bit of a sabbatical. They'd worked really hard for a long time, and as you do, eventually you earn this time. And so they decided it's actually a very common practice among the intergalactic community to come down to Earth for a little bit of time on a sabbatical. And so these folks decided, these three aliens, really close friends, they decided that they would come down, and they said they had these really bizarre forms, and so they decided they would take on humanoid form just so they could actually interact with people, because it could be a little confusing and distracting because they had the horns and the scales and the ooze, and it was just a little too much for people. So they decided at random to take 3 random human forms, and they decided because they had heard such good things about the junior high experience that it was such a crucible of becoming, that they could really learn about humanity, that they could really learn about these earthlings by coming in these random human forms into a junior high. And so they did, and they chose 3 beautiful human forms. One of them was beautiful and husky and chunky and a little bit wiggly when he shook, you know, beautiful, beautiful little chubby boy, right? And another was beautiful and tall and skinny and kind of had really big ears a little bit, you know, so it wasn't the most aerodynamic human, but still beautiful, beautiful person. And the other was this beautiful, beautiful kid, and he had walked with crutches, 2 little crutches on each of his hands. And so they were really excited because they had never been in human form before. And they came down and were plopped into this junior high, and as you can imagine, they were received a little strangely. They were surprised, too, because they had came into this junior high, all excited to see people, all excited to make friends, and every once in a while, someone would make fun of them. Every once in a while, someone would say something about this beautiful, husky, chubby, wiggly person. Every once in a while, somebody would say something about this beautiful, tall, skinny person with these ears. And every once in a while, somebody would say something about this kid who had these crutches on his hands. They wouldn't make fun of him directly, but sometimes they would just be a little cold in their heart. But these three aliens, they got together and they said, surely this is not the Earth we heard about. Surely this is not the Earth of King, not the Earth of Gandhi, not the Earth of the Buddha and the Beatles. There's a better Earth that we know of. And so with this incredibly advanced alien technology, they decided and they researched that there must be something afoot. There must be some kind of foul, nefarious scheme happening to make people react this way to other people, to make people see difference and build up walls, to make people look at someone and see only the ways that they find them unappealing. Some kind of scales had come down over people's eyes that they couldn't see beauty, that they couldn't see truth. And sure enough, their alien technology found the culprit, scoundrel, mad scientist person, and they located where this beam was coming from, and they found his secret hideout, and they broke into the secret hideout, and they got all the way up to the very last place, his little, sanctum mad scientist lair, and there were bars blocking the way, but luckily, the tall, skinny person with the ears, she was just small enough that she could fit through the bars. And she fit through the bars and she unlocked the door, and then the other ones came back in, and they saw this huge, huge transmitter. And they knew somewhere in their alien brain that all they had to do was destroy the transmitter. And so the chunky, wiggly one said, "Give me your crutch." And he ran up to it, launched himself as a pole vault, and his whole mass and self was just enough. He was just big enough that he took out the whole transmitter and it fell to the ground. But the amazing thing is that all across the world, right after that happened, the scales fell from people's eyes. And it was like they saw each other for the very first time. That they saw, and it was almost too much to even see because they had never seen it before, that they saw the true selves. All around them, they saw beauty, and they saw the uniqueness of every person, and they saw how whole and how holy every single last being was. And it was intense for the people when they saw it. But nothing was ever the same again. And that's much of what we try to do here. With our littlest people and all the way to our biggest people, we try and remember that there are these scales over our eyes sometimes that block us from seeing ourselves, that block us from seeing each other as we truly are. But that sometimes we do remember. Sometimes we glimpse through, and we know that beauty. And we do it more